First Minister Nicola Sturgeon said the two cities would be added to a restrictive travel list that already includes Bolton and Blackburn. New health laws will come into force on Monday, fining Scots if they travel to the two locations due to high levels of COVID. SNP-led Scottish Government ministers said Scots could be fined £60 up to a maximum of £960 if they repeatedly break the rules. But the Mayor of Greater Manchester yesterday called for funding from SNP-led Scottish Government ministers to help local businesses affected by lost bookings from Scots expecting to travel to the region. He also claimed the Scottish Government had not consulted local leaders about the move and branded the travel ban unnecessary. In a statement today on Twitter, Mr. Burnham added, "It would have been nice if Nicola Sturgeon had contacted us beforehand to discuss it. Maybe the Scottish Government should try living by the same standards it frequently accuses the UK government of lacking." And will they be providing any compensation for Greater Manchester residents whose trips are now being cancelled or businesses here losing bookings? Any national leader announcing a travel ban on us is a big deal. Mr. Burnham, who was elected as Mayor of Greater Manchester for a second term in May, said if one administration makes a decision that affects another, then it should be custom for that choice to be communicated or discussed in advance. He stressed, "You say I'm just a mayor, but the Greater Manchester Combined Authority is an administration covering 2.8 million people." Alex Cole-Hamilton, Scottish Lib Dems health spokesperson, said the Labour mayor, a potential contender for the Labour Party leadership, was right to call the ban out. The Edinburgh Western MSP claimed the travel ban did not make sense while travel is unrestricted across Scotland. The latest figures from Public Health England, FA, reveal coronavirus infection rates have continued to rise in most parts of the city. The infection rate rose in 8 boroughs but fell in 2, Bolton and Stockport, whilst Salford continued to have the highest coronavirus infection rate in the region, recording a rate of 336.9 cases per 100,000 people in the week ending June 14. The lowest infection rate is in Tameside, where the rate is 178.8 cases per 100,000 people, whilst in Greater Manchester as a whole, the infection rate is 261.2 cases per 100,000 population. Speaking at her coronavirus briefing on Friday, First Minister Nicola Sturgeon urged caution for travelling to the area and added, anyone travelling elsewhere in the Greater Manchester or Lancashire area, I'd ask to think carefully about whether your journey is really necessary because we do see cases rising across that region. Meanwhile, travel bans to the English town of Bedford and Northern Ireland will be removed from the Scottish Government's UK travel restriction list also on Monday. Currently, most of the Central Belt and cities including Stirling and Dundee are currently in Level 2 of the Scottish Government's 5 tiers of restrictions. Other parts of the country are in Level 1 and many of the islands are in Level 0. In the last 24 hours, Scotland has recorded 2 COVID-19 deaths and 1,209 new cases. It means the death toll under this daily measure, of people who first tested positive for the virus within the previous 28 days, stands at 7,692. In response, a Scottish Government spokesperson said, this legislation was announced to Parliament on Thursday. The Scottish rules on travel to and from other parts of the common travel area are kept under active review and are subject to change depending on the state of the pandemic. Given the importance of using up-to-date data, this can sometimes happen at short notice. We realize that for those with family or friends in Manchester or Salford, or for anyone who was simply planning a visit, this is disappointing. But rates of COVID in these cities are particularly high at the moment, and these restrictions are intended to minimize the risk of either exacerbating the situation there or indeed allowing more virus to come back here to Scotland.